Well, hi, everybody. We're here with most of the directors for the PRA. It's a very, very happy occasion because at last the plaque is up on the wall, and you've been very generous in supporting this. We have literally almost $20,000, which you've contributed, and we've been able to pull this all together, and you'd be very proud of the way this looks on the wall. By the way, this is mounted on a wall that is quite notable because an awful lot of things have happened of a technical nature inside the building. Land was simply the last one to do important technical work. This building goes back to 200 years ago in the early 1800s, where people did important work on the new railway cars. In the middle of last century, or 19th century, there was a family that our own Vivian Walworth is descended from, who had a tool company in here. They had a man by the name of Stillson, who invented the Stillson wrench. And then Alexander Graham Bell's lab was in the same place that Land occupied later. And you know what Bell did. He made his first long-distance telephone call from here.
No, to here.
Well, it was back and forth, actually. It was between here and Boston. But nice catch. And finally, Dr. Land spent many, many years here. And as he said about the buildings of Polaroid, he said, out of a few miserable buildings, we have created a real wonder. And what's going on now is it's being upgraded for biotech companies like Pfizer and others. And I will bet you that within 20 years, there'll be another plaque on the wall because there will be some wonderful, wonderful medicine invented. The startup company gives tours.
Hi, my name is Johannes Frühau. I'm the founder and the president of Lab Central. Welcome to Lab Central. This is a place where we build new startups in life sciences or in biotech. So if you think of an academic professor who has a great idea and they want to maybe build a new drug, then they now can come here. They don't have to build and outfit their own laboratory. They don't have to get their own permits. We also have a staff that operates the facility. They sit right here. You can show them very quickly. And that is a concept that has been very successful in the past. Boston, Cambridge, of course, is an area where there are many great scientists and innovators and who really need this type of space. Traditionally, they would need to raise millions of dollars from investors or venture capitalists and buy space or rent space and paint it and have it refurbished and build a lab, buy the equipment, get all the permits, and before you know it, you've spent millions of dollars and lost half a year of your company's lifetime. And so that's what we mitigate. And now, in fact, people can come in here, they find a fully furnished laboratory. We have millions of dollars of lab equipment deployed here that they can all use. We train the scientists, we teach them about safety in the labs and so forth. Every scientist now gets one bench, and that allows them to do their work. There's also a lot of support space available, additional equipment, microscopes, centrifuges, PCR machines, sequencing instrumentation. As you see, we currently have 27 companies in this space. They range anywhere from 1 to 12 employees, and they all work on new medical technologies. There's different choices of space available, either in the open lab or in private labs like these that you see here, and they all come fully equipped and fully furnished. This is our sponsor wall. We celebrate all of the great companies that help Lab Central fulfill its mission by donating cash or equipment. And the way we've set this up is that we have a tiered level sponsorship. Most of these companies are very interested in building relationships with our early stage startups and entrepreneurs. For example, we have the pharma companies up here. We have J&J, we have Pfizer, and we have Novartis. They're all very interested in learning what these young companies are up to, because they might at some point want to partner with them or want to license stuff from them. As you walk past these companies, they are all independent companies. Most of them are financed with venture capital investments or angel investments. Many of them have very experienced teams, but there are some first-time teams as well, first-time entrepreneurs right out of their PhD, starting a company, so very exciting. And so one of the important aspects of why this is so valuable for them is that they not only find a facility that allows them to get started right away, but also they find a network of other people. So here we come into our cafe area, a place where people gather during the day. We have good coffee on tap, we have free snacks and yogurt and ice cream and things to bring people out of their laboratory so that they can now meet others and hopefully strike up a conversation, get to know another person, and maybe come up with a new idea, come up with a new collaboration. We've actually had a number of cases where this has led to people now interacting and finding out, oh, we could actually do something together, and coming up with a new idea for a project. This is our playroom. It's the office, I think, the former office that Winland had. And we use it for informal meetings, we use it for simple breaks, we use it for smaller seminars, like a demonstration from one of our sponsors, Agilent, currently going on. They have a 3-day seminar going on, maybe you've seen them when you came in. And we have a little display over there that we wanted to take a look at. So we don't have a plaque yet, but there's going to be some text explaining what this is. Very nice. We actually have a few old photos that we found of Dr. Lam standing outside the building. So that's pretty cool. Then, of course, next to it is the 1900s telephone that we got from one of my co-founders. They had, like, his grand uncle had this in the barn in Iowa somewhere, and we put it because in this building also the telephone was invented or co-invented. They made the first long-distance phone call from us. Very inspiring history of innovation. Now, of course, we hope that some of our startups will continue that tradition of inventing great new things in this building. I hope you enjoyed your tour at Lab Central, and thank you for making us a part of your story here.
Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
But let me once again thank the members of the PRA. 350 people contributed to the support of this out of our 1,500 members. What you have seen is focused on Dr. Lam, and especially the laboratory in which he created so many brilliant new things. Our speaker this morning is someone who knew the lab and worked very closely with Dr. Lam, and that's Dr. Shelley Buckler. Dr. Buckler is an accomplished scientist, a technical and business leader of the highest order, both at Polaroid and a number of other enterprises. Let me just summarize his Polaroid service. He was an employee for 30 years and an officer for 25 of those. He served as vice president of research. He started the battery and chemical operation units. He was the general manager of the industrial business. He initiated a business venture with the Soviet Union and China. But the main reason we want him to speak is he's a very funny man. Shelley.
Okay, well, I guess I have to tell some jokes based on that. First of all, I think we all owe Eric and the board a great big shout out and thank you for organizing the project, getting that design. The plaque celebrates Dr. Land's creative work, 500 plus patents, numerous scientific achievements in addition. He also was a very patriotic person. He spent a lot of time working for the government, initiated some things that were used. He was close with both Eisenhower and Kennedy. And many, we could spend the whole meeting talking about his fierce patriotic devotion to this country. He also was an innovator in the sense that I think he was the prototype of somebody who left school and was interested in technology, left early to found a company which became very successful. Now we all know there are a number of other prototypes since then. And some other companies have emerged. Among the best known are Apple, that followed that same pathway, Microsoft, most recently Facebook, and the like. So it's a prototype of creating innovation in the United States, which really, as far as I know, has no parallel elsewhere on the face of the globe. It's something that Land started, among other things. He's a remarkable guy. But basically, we've talked about that a lot. We've celebrated that a lot. But, Edwin Land, and I had the privilege of in about 15 of the 30 years I spent at Polaroid, I worked closely with him. And what I discovered was he didn't spend all of his time on top of Mount Olympus. No, and at other times, he was, shall we say, a human being just like the rest of us. So I'm going to tell you some stories about my experience with Land, the human side of Edwin Land, the human side of the life that he had, and I'm going to share those with you. I might say a few of them are things that I've never shared before, but I think at this point you wouldn't mind. You've been gone a long time, and I think it's okay. So let me start. When I first started working with him, maybe the second or third evening that we were working together on a problem, he stopped suddenly, and he said, I want you to know why I do what I do and why I do it. And he described his life as a little boy in Norwich, Connecticut. His mother insisted that he wear these sailor suits, he'd always be neatly dressed when he went out to play. So the kids naturally picked on him and bullied him because, they were wearing ordinary clothes and here he was all dressed up, So pretty soon, he says, I became somewhat reclusive and I used to concentrate on doing projects down in the basement and all the rest. And then he said, I had an experience. Every Sunday afternoon, my family had this big touring car. And we used to drive and see one of the relatives. He says, I loathed doing that. They used to, it wasn't anything for me to do. They used to pinch my cheek. They used to say things to me that I didn't want to hear and all the rest of it. Well, he said to me, looking me right in the eye, there was this one Sunday afternoon, I was in the back seat. I think I was about 9 years old, and I said to myself, and this is Land speaking, I will never, ever let anybody tell me what to do again for the rest of my life. Well, I stood there and I'm thinking to myself, why is he telling me this? but you know what? No one ever did. telling me that. I don't know what it was, but you know, when you're alone with him, he can open up and tell you things of an intimate and personal nature that were really staggering. And you know, it was from that kind of thing that, frankly, I grew to love the man, and I still feel my love for him. And of course, I had some involvement with some of his other family situations. One time we were working in the late afternoon, he looks at the watch and says, oh my God. I says, we have to go. He says, you come with me, come with me. We was driving at that point a big station wagon. And we keep talking, he drives out to Logan Airport. Turns out the reason for it was his wife Terry was coming back from her winter sojourn in Carmel, California. She had a bad case of arthritis, so she used to spend the winter out there. And he was supposed to pick her up, and he was late. And her arthritis was so bad, when she got off the airplane, they put her in a wheelchair. She had a traveling companion, and they were standing out in front of American Airlines, and she was not happy. She was not pleased. And so I helped Dr. Land, along with SkyCap, get her in the car, along with her traveling companion. I got back in, the passenger side, and she started. And she said, you're late. You're always late. You've always been late. You missed everything. There are things you Jennifer's Sweet 16, you didn't show up for that. And on she went. And meanwhile, he's hunched over the steering wheel and he's driving. And you married guys out there,